Today we are going to be diving into Zodiac Killer. Like this video and subscribe to the channel for new videos on serial killers every week. The Zodiac Killer is one of most infamous serial killers in history. Who was he? The self-proclaimed Zodiac Killer was directly linked to at least 5 murders in Northern California in 1968 and 1969, and may have been responsible for more. He taunted police and made threats through letters sent to area newspapers from 1969 to 1974, before abruptly ceasing communication. Despite intensive investigations, no one was ever arrested for the crimes, and the case remains open. The mystery surrounding the murders has been the subject of numerous books and movies. Letters, Symbols, and Ciphers. On August 1, 1969, the San Francisco Examiner, San Francisco Chronicle, and Vallejo Times-Herald each received an identical handwritten letter in an envelope without a return address. Beginning, "Dear Editor, I am the killer of the 2 teenagers last Christmas at Lake Herman." The letters contained details from the Zodiac Killer's murders that only the killer could have known. The killer went on to threaten further attacks if the letters weren't printed on the front page of the papers. Each letter closed with a symbol consisting of a circle with a cross through it, in what would come to be known as the Zodiac Killer symbol. The letters were also each accompanied by one part of a 3-part cipher that he claimed contained his identity. While Bay Area police departments, with the support of the FBI, worked feverishly to track down the killer, another letter soon arrived at the San Francisco Examiner. Beginning, "Dear Editor, this is the Zodiac speaking." It also described the murders in detail and taunted police for not having been able to crack his code or catch him. Several days later, high school teacher Donald Hardin and his wife, Betty, were able to solve the cipher. "I like killing people because it is so much fun," it read. "It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all." 3 days after the 4th known Zodiac killing, the 1969 murder of taxi driver Paul Stine, the San Francisco Chronicle received a letter claiming the crime. Written in the same erratic print as the Zodiac's previous letters, it gave the details of Stein's murder and was accompanied by a bloody scrap of Stein's shirt. At the end of the letter, the killer mused that he would next shoot out the tire of a school bus and pick off the kiddies as they come bouncing out. The Zodiac Killer continued his taunting correspondence with Bay Area papers, in which he included more ciphers, claimed to have committed several more murders, and mocked the police for their inability to catch him. In 1974 the letters stopped, although the investigation has not. Victims, at present, 4 separate attacks have been definitively attributed to the Zodiac Killer. The first confirmed incident took place on the night of December 20, 1968, when 17-year-old David Faraday and his 16-year-old girlfriend, Betty Lou Jensen, were shot to death near their car at a remote spot on Lake Herman Road, on the outskirts of Vallejo, California. Police were baffled, unable to determine the motive for the crime or a suspect. Early in the morning of July 5, 1969, Darlene Farron, age 22, and her boyfriend, Mike Maggio, age 19, were sitting in parked car in a similarly remote Vallejo location, when they were approached by a man with a flashlight. The figure fired multiple shots at them, killing Farron and seriously wounding Maggio. Within an hour of the incident, a man called the Vallejo Police Department, giving them the location of the crime scene and claiming responsibility for both that attack and the 1968 murders of Faraday and Jensen. Despite evidence that included fingerprints, Maggio's description, the decoded cipher, and a wave of tips and leads, police were unable to track down the Zodiac Killer. On the evening of September 27, 1969, he struck again, approaching young couple Cecilia Shepard and Brian Hartnell as they relaxed on an isolated part of the shore of Lake Berryessa in Napa County. Wearing a hood and a shirt bearing a circle cross symbol, he tied them up before brutally stabbing them, scrawling a message for police on their car door, and leaving the scene. He then called the Napa Police Department to claim responsibility. Shepard and Hartnell were both in critical condition but alive when emergency services arrived, but Shepard died of her wounds shortly thereafter. 2 weeks later, on October 11, 1969, the Zodiac claimed another life, shooting 29-year-old taxi driver Paul Stein in San Francisco's Presidio Heights neighborhood. As the murder did not seem to fit the Zodiac's pattern, it was initially deemed a robbery until the San Francisco Chronicle received a letter claiming the crime. At least 5 other murders have been tentatively linked to the Zodiac killer, including the 1963 shooting of Robert Domingos and Linda Edwards near Santa Barbara, California, and the 1966 stabbing death of college student Cherie Jo Bates in Riverside, California. Article plus information taken from Crime Museum.